Hey guys, Knife Yak here, and today I'm going to be doing a comparison video between the Cold Steel Archangel clip point version, and actually I'll latch that up, and the Benchmade 43. Now, most people know about the Benchmade 42. It's one of the most iconic ballad songs that ever came into creation. But what a lot of people don't know is that there were actually 7 4X models, I think. It's at least 7. There was the 41, which was a kukri blade. It ran on Zen pins. The 42 was a Weehawk. Most people know that. The 44 was a American Tanto blade, I think, or the 49, but one of them is the American Tanto. The 46 is a spear point blade with a false edge, but you can make it double-edged if you want. I've heard it's uncomfortable. The 47 was a regular Tanto, not an American Tanto, a regular Tanto, and I've heard that it's a bit blade heavy. And the 49 is something else. I'm not sure. Oh wait, I think it's a Chris blade. That's what it is. It's a Chris, I think. But all that aside, the Benchmade 43 is a Bowie blade, which I love the most out of all 7. I just can't get enough of this Bowie blade. It's the original reason why I bought the 63, which many of you know I hate because it flips like dog shit. But whatever. Both of these knives are channel titanium. They're both channel titanium, and they both have tang pins with just kickers on the blade to stop them from closing on the handles, because you can do that if you have channel titanium. But that is actually about where the similarities stop. Most everything about them besides that is different. If I had a T-latch 43 here, they'd have a bit more similarities, but no, I have the spring latch version, so yeah. I think I'll just start from the bottom and go up like most people do it. Silent J does it like that, so that's just what I'm gonna do. The Cold Steel Archangel has a T-latch, as you can see. It doesn't get in the way too much, to be honest, but it's still a T-latch and it's kind of annoying sometimes. And the 43 has a spring latch. Now, I can tell with the 43, I'm like 99% sure this is a titanium latch, because the weight doesn't seem to be that noticeable. I can flip it perfectly with the latch, and it seems pretty balanced to me. But with the Archangel, I'm not totally sure. The latch looks clean enough to be titanium, and it kind of looks like that shade of gray titanium usually is, but it seems to add more weight. And I think it could be a steel latch, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, I would rather, like, I heavily prefer to flip this without this latch. I put it back on for the video, but this one, it flips just fine with the latch. So that's why I think that's probably a steel latch. Now, we'll move to the handles next. So, interesting thing is that there are 2 ways that you can make channel titanium handles. You can either mill them or you can cast them. Milling actually wastes a lot of titanium because you have to mill it out of a billet, a solid block of titanium. But it comes out much cleaner and much better, just to be honest. Now, casting them, you don't waste as much titanium because you're only pouring in what you actually need for the mold. But it makes for a lot more imperfections, and the reason that they actually discontinued the 4X models was because their molds were starting to deform and mess up. So, yeah. Whereas with milling, you can just replace this machine with a mold. You have to make an entire new mold, and it costs way too much. Now, the Cold Steel is milled titanium. You guys probably got that from me pointing, but the Cold Steel is milled titanium, and the Benchmade 43 is cast titanium. I haven't really seen any imperfections here. It looks pretty clean to me, but that's just my knowledge on the subject with cast versus milled titanium. As you can see, the Cold Steel Archangel has a pocket clip. The Benchmade 43 does not. The 43 MC does come with a pocket clip. MC or the version with pocket clips. I'm not sure what MC actually stands for, but whatever. And this pocket clip, it's not too. It is raining really hard right now. If you guys don't know, but yeah. What was I saying? Right, flipping with the pocket clip on this is, the weight is not that bad, but the fact that it's on the safe handle is a bit annoying, and the fact that if you remove it, you have this huge chunk of unfinished titanium there is also kind of annoying. I'd rather have the pocket clip than have that unfinished bit of titanium. So, that's a bit annoying for me. Some people don't mind it as much, but yeah. And also, if you happen to be right-handed, the guy who owns this is left-handed, so it's not a problem for him. But if you don't have a latch and you flip right-handed, okay, and you put this in your pocket, sometimes people put them different ways. I tend to put mine at the front of my pocket, like you know, if you had a pocket here on my right side, this would be the back, this would be the front. I tend to put it on the front side, so when I do that, this blade tends to fall down actually. Now, people who put them on the bottom of the pocket in the right side, putting it on the bottom of the pocket is more common, but I put it on the top because most of my pockets are pretty flat, so it just stays there anyway. People putting it on the bottom of their pocket is more common, so it doesn't really matter. But for left-handed people who put it on the bottom of their pocket, the same thing can happen where the blade falls out in your pocket. So that kind of sucks, but that's not too bad. Now, let's go on to the hardware. Benchmade, you made a good and a bad decision. So if you don't know, Benchmade press fits all their hardware. So basically what that means is, unless you have a vise and something pointy enough to get in there, you can't push these pins out and take the knife apart, and it also voids your warranty if you do that. So that's stupid, but it makes for a very secure and strong knife if you keep it like this. Cold Steel just has regular pins, and you know, you can take them out easily, but I tried to take the latch off on the 43 just to see how it was. I couldn't because I didn't have enough conviction to center punch the freaking pins out. But that's whatever. The construction for stopping the knife is the exact same, so I won't talk about that. Now, blades. Cold Steel, you are retarded, okay? Cold Steel is stupid AF, alright? Cold Steel is retarded. They use something called carbon vanadium for the blade steel in this. Carbon vanadium, carbon V, okay? And it's a strong blade steel, but the thing about it is that it rusts and corrodes super easily. I have to oil this thing twice a day to keep it from rusting. I haven't oiled this thing in 3 days and it's fine. I mean, I've oiled this twice a day and it's still patinaing and like corroding on it. It's ridiculous. Just, it's stupid. Now, the 43, this particular 43, the earlier spring latch models come with 440C, but this particular one is the 154 cm blade, which is very rust resistant, and it is also a very strong blade steel. So Benchmade for sure wins on that front for blade steel. Whew, I am exhausting myself because this room is hot and I'm talking super fast, so and I'm also standing on my knees and I'm using my core a lot to actually bend over. Bend over. So yeah, so now we'll move on to how they flip. I didn't notice this for a few days, but in the Cold Steel they actually have a portion milled out, much like the Tachyon 3, they have a portion milled out that kind of sweeps up and adds a bit more weight on the end of this. So it gives it some momentum. It gives it nice momentum. Now the 43 doesn't have that, but what the 43 does have is they have this right here. You see this? This is like sort of it's just like a block of titanium that's in there. It holds weight, and it also keeps the latch from going too far up this way when you latch it closed. It just keeps it in that cup. And on the other side, it houses the latch, but the latch and the spring, it's milled out in the middle, but the latch and the spring offsets that weight difference, so that's good. But from what I can tell, the cold steel Archangel still has more backswing, which is not necessarily a bad thing on Benchmade. You know, knives handle differently. The Alpha Beast has much more backswing than the BR's Replicant, but I actually like the Replicant better, so that's that. For flipping like chaplains and rollovers, I like, yeah, you see just there? Okay. So on the spine here, because of that carbon V frickin' steel that cold steel uses for some reason, you can see the patina and corrosion on the back. And when you chaplain, that actually tends to catch on your fingers and fly off. So that's really, really annoying when you're trying to do chaplains. Yeah, see, it did it just then too. I'll try and do a few chaplains, and it caught on my finger and went off. Something that adds to that, I think, I'm not sure about this, is, let me see. Yeah, the cold steel balance point, since the blade is rather large compared to the handles. Like, they're about the same size. Benchmade leaves about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of just a handle down here with no blade, like, in the way. Cold steel leaves maybe 1/2 an inch, and their blade is fairly thick most of the way through. As you can see at the end of the Bowie, it thins out because it does the sweep up, but the clip point is fairly thick all the way through until it tapers down at the end. So that keeps the balance point a bit farther forward, and that also sometimes causes it to fly off while chaplaining. Now that doesn't mean it's blade heavy. That doesn't at all mean it's blade heavy. It is not blade heavy at all. But it's just that the balance point is a bit farther forward than it is for the Benchmade. And you know, for chaplaining on Benchmade, it chaplains beautifully. It's amazing. And this on the 63 they have a crowned spine, but for the 43 it's not crowned at all, but it's just as smooth. To be honest, I started that one too fast, but the spine feels just as smooth even though it has no crowning on it. So with all the differences aside, or not them aside, but this has better backswing, but this is better for chaplains and rollovers and stuff like that. So to be honest, I have to give it to the Benchmade, since I kind of like a more neutral handling anyway. Maybe because this is just my baby right now and I love it, but that's the thing. So in my opinion, the Benchmade 43 wins over the cold steel, but the cold steel is still a very good knife. The owner of this is actually having a reblade done in 154 cm, so that'll be great for him. It'll stop all the corrosion from happening so quickly. So thanks for watching this video. If you're planning on buying one of these, I hope this gave something to you. If you're a collector and you want to keep it nice and clean, it would be easier to do it with a Benchmade 43. But if you're just flipping and you don't really care about corrosion and whatnot, either one would be good, but I prefer the 43. So thank you for watching and have a nice day.